and welcome back. I hope you had some time to work with your adults to look at the transfer station website and see what's going on there. I noticed that when I watched this morning, there were a lot of pigeons there. And remember we had said that a lot of those pigeons may be trying to eat any food scraps that might end up in the garbage. So I was wondering, what else could I do? I know that in my story, I did create a lot of food scraps and that I didn't really want to put it in the garbage. We knew that was going to go to the landfill. So have you figured out another place I could put those food scraps? A compost container. Oh, yes, I'm going to write that word up there. So the word is compost. Can you say that? Compost. Yes, so there's lots of different ways that people can compost. Some people compost in their backyard, like this. But I don't have a backyard, so I can't do that. Some people put it in a bin that the city takes away, like that. But I decided to do it a different way. What I do is that I have a nice little container underneath my sink, and I put all my food scraps in there. Now, I have little teeny friends that also live in my bin, and they help me take care of my food scraps. Do you know who those little teeny friends are? Oh, not ants, no ants. Oh, I don't want ants in my kitchen. No. What are my little teeny friends? Oh, not mice. I don't want mice in my house. Oh, no. So these little friends, they're sort of small, they're sort of slimy and wiggly. You're right, they're my worms. Now, you remember before I said that I really like to eat. Well, my little worms, they like to eat more than me. They spend their whole day eating. So they're going to eat and eat and eat and eat, and then they're going to make little brown things. What are those little brown things? There you go. Yep, that's worm poop. Oh, but you know what? I don't want you all going home and being like, guess what? Someone from Metro talked to me about worms and we talked about poop. No. We're going to be scientists about this. So let's put our science hats on. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I'm going to teach you a science word, and that means worm poop. Let me write it down, and then we can all say it together. So the science word is castings. Can you say that? Yes, you got it. So remember, we're scientists. So my little worms are going to eat and eat and eat, and then they're going to make castings. And this is like super dirt. It has so many vitamins in it. Now, who here takes vitamins at home? I know I do. Do you know why we eat vitamins? What do you think? You're right. We want to be healthy. So I don't think you want to eat castings for vitamins, right? No, but I bet plants wouldn't mind. They want to be healthy. So I have a plan. Right in front of my building is a little bit of land, and nothing grows there, not even grass. I think that dirt is not healthy. So what if I take some of these castings and I mix it into that dirt? So if I go and put some of those castings into the dirt in front of my building, I could have a little vegetable garden. What should I grow in that garden? What do you think? Oh, that's a good idea. Ooh, that one's a good too. Yes, let's do that planting. So yes, we're going to try to grow some beans and carrots, some tomatoes and potatoes in the ground. And oh, I love that last idea. Let's put in an apple tree. Now, you know I like to eat. Now, if I want to eat these things, like beans and carrots and potatoes and tomatoes and apples, but I don't want to have to get in my car to go to the store, where can I get them from? What? You mean I can just go right outside my door and find food? Oh, this makes a very happy Dr. Jamie, because you know what that means? I get to eat, which is one of my favorite things to do. So last episode, we had gotten to the point where we knew that I had lots of different food scraps at the end of my day, and I didn't want to put them in the garbage can. And then we had to think about what to do. And so today we went through and figured out that yes, if I use a compost bin, and I have a little teeny one that's in underneath my sink, those worms are going to help me by taking those food scraps, eating it, making a very happy worm, and they make the castings so that it keeps going. Now, what shape do you see that was created in the story? It's sort of like a circle. And so what we call this is actually the compost cycle. It's sort of like a life cycle or a water cycle or a weather cycle. It goes around and around. And I'm able to use this cycle to help reduce my garbage. In order for our cycle to work, I have to make sure that everyone in the cycle is happy. So they need to have everything they need to survive. So part of my responsibility is creating a really good habitat for my worms. Do you know what a habitat is? You're right. A habitat is a place where an animal, a plant, a person lives, and everything they need is there. So for my worms, there are four main things I need to give them to make sure they have a really good habitat. Let's figure out what they are. So I have my sort of magic habitat bag. Let's see what we can pull. So one thing I need to give my worms is a shelter. I know this is a bird shelter, but for my worms, they need somewhere to live as well. So what I need to give them is a worm bin. So this is my little worm bin that lives under my sink. So it has a little bit of dirt in it, so they have a bed. It keeps them in the dark because worms like the dark, and it has a lid so they're safe. So that's a pretty good shelter for a worm. So I've given them a shelter. What else do I need to give them? Food. And you saw from my story, there's a lot of food I could give them. Things that I wasn't going to finish eating or that I didn't really like, I could give it to the worms so that they can eat it. Now, what else do I need to give them? Water. Yes, I need to make sure there's enough water in their habitat so they can survive. Now, when you eat an apple, is it dry or is it juicy? Yes. So a lot of times our food has some water in it, but I have to add extra in there to make sure that they have enough. Now, when we drink water, we drink through our mouths, right? Worms don't do that. Worms drink through their skin. So I have to make sure their habitat has enough so that they have enough to be able to survive. Now, so far I've given them some shelter, some food, and some water. What is the fourth one? Let's see if we can find it. Oh no, I think it escaped. Let's all catch it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What is the fourth thing I have to give them? Air. So you see in my bin, I put holes around the edges and on the top so air can get in. And when I feed them, I move the dirt around to make sure they have enough air in their habitat. So they have everything they need for a really good habitat. So in this video, we learned that we can take our food scraps and instead of putting it into the garbage, we can put it into a compost container. Using that compost container can create a cycle where my food scraps go from my kitchen to the compost bin, to my worms, to the castings, then to my garden, and then back to me having more food. We also learned that to have a cycle work, I had to make sure that my worms had a really good habitat. And so I needed to give them those important things like a shelter, some food, some water, and air. Those are important for a habitat. So in the next episode, we're going to get to meet my compost friends. We're going to actually go into my compost bin and see what's going on in there. So after you watch this video, why don't you take a moment and think about what do you think you're going to see in that compost bin? You could draw it, you could write about it. Another thing you could think about is where else have you heard that word cycle? Think about when you've heard this at school or at home. You can even ask an adult or a sibling at your home, what are other cycles that you know of? So until I see you in the next episode, bye.